7:30, can we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a moment of silent prayer for not only our country, but our council leaders. Amen. It is Tuesday evening, January the 1st, or not January, February 1st, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get back in time. February 1st, we're in the Municipal Center. Can I have the roll call, please?
Yeah, Scott Murphy.
Here.
Rick Weber.
Here.
Greg Forney is absent. Rose Jackson.
Here.
Elizabeth Skinner.
Here.
Chris Chapman.
Here.
And Susan Webster is here. We have four.
Good. We need to review the minutes for the council meeting on the 18th of January. I didn't see anything, but I will take a common consent from council that everything's okay with any additions or corrections. Good? Okay, good deal. All right, that's out of the way. We have persons before council. We have Kate Lehman here. She wants to discuss with us, I guess, a grant proposal. So, Kate, you have the floor.
Thank you. Last time I appeared before you, I was telling you about a grant proposal that the Division of Forestry had urged the tree board to apply for. And it was to have a boots on the ground tree inventory and then buy some software that would help the tree board in the town to create a movie of the location and condition of trees in town. And shortly after I spoke to you, I was one day from submitting the proposal to the Division of Forestry, and Bob Hanna called and said, hold off on that. We think that Davies, another company, is coming out with a better software program that is cheaper. And so that's moved to a back burner. Bob was in touch a week or so ago and urged us to apply. He still has money. And so what we're proposing is to take down between 6 and 9 Bradford pears along Washington. There are 4 in front of the Catholic Church, 1 at the corner of Fairfax and Washington, and 3 in front of the City National Bank. And these are invasive tree species. A lot of states are refuse to sell the trees anymore. They're paying people to take them out. However, I'd like to give a rationale that I think will resound even more with the council. They are liabilities. They are trees that are weak. They have very weak wood. All of them have broken at one crotch or another, and that's pretty typical. They've been aggressively pruned to keep them out of overhead wires. And in front of the Catholic Church, they've been aggressively pruned so that trucks don't brush by them. These trees have a lifespan of 20 to 25 years. And with that kind of pruning, it's just going to take the right wind before they come down. And it's not going to be an act of God, because we know that these are trees that are not sturdy, not healthy. And so I'm proposing that we use somebody else's money to take them down now. We want to replace the trees in front of the Catholic Church. Probably 4 trees that are known as understory trees. They won't get up into the wires. We'll look for one that doesn't have such a round canopy that it grows into 522. We will make certain we look for trees that are sensitive to salt, since that area is the road is salted. The other location where we plant trees, and we plant the new trees between where the old trees used to be. We'd also we have been talking to Denise Bergen about possibly doing a partnership with CMB. They're very interested in having that tree taken down. And she said she's looking to see if the bank will pay for the tree removal and the tree. And I said, well, if you can give the money to the tree board, that helps us meet our match. And so she's talking to people at CMB.
You know, we were sold those trees probably 20.
I know.
mean, they were the best thing. People are naming their kid Brad.
I know.
It was
You know, our
intense.
knowledge-
These are the best trees.
Our
ever.
knowledge advances, and we realize that things we did 25 years ago aren't such a good idea
Well,
nowadays.
they stink too in the spring.
Yes, they do.
Smell like a dead rat.
Oh,
I don't know if you've got.
they have a very bad smell.
Very. Yeah.
At any rate, the trees that we want to plant in front of the Catholic Church, we want to get a 2-inch caliper tree, bow and burlap. We'd have Redding install them. It's about $375 per tree. Redding guarantees them for a year as long as we do reasonable maintenance such as watering. And trees that big will make an immediate visual impact. When people are coming into town from that direction, it won't be little tiny saplings out there. The tree board has checked with Streetscapes, and they have nothing planned between Bath and Liberty. So these aren't trees that will be put in for a short period of time and taken out. I did check with Miss Utility to see if there's any reason that trees cannot be planted there. And so far there's no objection. There are no wires, pipes, and so on. And let's see, each of the balm burlap trees is about $375. Well, we don't know the exact number yet. The estimate for that is $1,875. And several years ago, when Larry Blauer was on the tree board, he had the foresight to plant some trees between the Bradford pears in front of City National Bank. And so we'll take down the trees, but the trees we planted are nice-sized trees. There won't be a period of time when there's not a nice tree canopy and so on. And the way things work out, sometime I got a call just the other day from Dave O'Connell from the Friends of the North Berkeley Rail Trail, and they want to plant 6 to 8 smaller trees on parcel 3 of the rail trail that is owned by the town, and it can be, holes can be dug into it. And the cost of planting these trees would be between $125 and $150, depending on what we choose. We also, particularly in that area, would probably plant some shrubs to fill out the area. And one of the really nice things, I have no worries about $5,000 in volunteer time to meet the match, but with the Friends of North Berkeley Rail Trail working with us, and Dave said that they would give us their hours to help us meet our match. So the cost as I have it now, and I don't have the exact details, 5 to 6 trees at $375 each would be $22.50 maximum. 6 to 8 trees at $150, and that's on the high side. We might choose cheaper trees. A maximum of $1,200. The removal of the trees is $6,000. That's 2 days labor, and we will have to probably shut down or have the police there when Tree Works takes down the trees in those 2 places. So that's approximately $6,000. The delivery fee for trees is $100. So the total maximum is $10,450. And no money is required up front. With the other grant, we had to have, $5,000 up front. This is all volunteer in kind match, and all of these organizations have billed us in the past.
Another thing about the trees in front of the Catholic Church rectory. A few years ago, we had a terrible problem with the sewer, backing up. It was horrible. And come to find out, one of those trees had grown into the sewer, and I mean, it was a root as long as this room. And finally, that was fixed. So we couldn't fly. Sure. So it was bad. So, trees that don't do that, or,
Right.
have a different root set or something, is good too, to look out for in those cases. But,
All right, council, it's been proposed to us from the tree board to take down some trees there in front of the Catholic Church, in front of Citizens
City
National,
National, is it?
or City National,
City
National, Bank, and replace the trees that are in front of the Catholic Church, with smaller style trees.
Now, these would be good sized
Good,
trees.
good sized trees that don't grow up into the wires
Oh,
and stuff,
correct.
which will be great.
Correct.
Hopefully won't grow out on the canopy where the tractor trailers come through. For the proposed amount of 10,000,
10.5 is $10,450 is my high estimate at this
right,
point.
and that would be, the total price, but we can,
are you asking us for that money? Or
No,
you
I'm
to
asking for
support your
permission to
grant?
apply for the grant.
Well, you got it.
yeah, I was going to say, I
So
have
at
no
this
problem.
point, there's nothing from the town,
Yeah.
No,
financial.
not asking
No,
that.
no, and there never will be.
But can I make an addendum onto a couple of the comments? Is the volunteer piece, and I'm working with trying to make sure we're harnessing the volunteer piece with both the church group and Boy Scouts and these kind of things,
Right.
stuff that and I would just ask that perhaps we put a note in the record that the town, endorses, this opportunity for various groups to support the greening of the town.
Absolutely.
Just to keep drumming that one and working with David to try to make sure and we're talking primarily the rails to trailhead here, but really, trying to get that to be, every spring, everybody comes out for a cleanup, right? And all the organizations come out, and that it does become something that the town, the people of the town claim ownership of, right? There's a lot of opportunities. The examples that were just talked about is to improve that. And then these are also opportunities for volunteers. So, again, to just keep beating that drum to another opportunity for people to be more involved, like we all do. Volunteer a little time, and again, we get a great deal if you have the volunteer time. It makes it so much more economical than saying, I want a ton of trees and somebody else does it.
Here's the bill, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
I'll make a
Council,
motion that we support the tree board with this grant proposal.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to give the tree board the authorization to apply for the grant to remove and replace some trees in our downtown section. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Have fun.
Thank you.
Thank
Will
you.
you send me an email with kind of a synopsis of what you just said, because I scribbled, but I wanted to listen to.
Sure.
I got it pretty good, but I
I'll
want to
send,
get it
I'll
right.
send you,
I want to make sure it's right. Thank
I
you.
would have had a printed copy, but I'm having my upstairs painted and I
Yeah.
don't even know where my printer is.
Okay. Don't worry.
Sound
I
like
just
me
know it's
now.
unplugged.
All right.
Okay, all
Thank
right, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for that, and we look forward to seeing those trees taken care of, so that'll be great. All right, we'll move on to communications from Mayor. Don't have a whole lot. I just want to throw out, I want to thank the guys and gals again for such a great job of removing snow and pushing snow and taking care of our town. It is much appreciated, even though we don't tell them all the time. I just want that to be put out there. They are up all hours of the night. They plowed all night. They take care of the roads. They route later in the afternoon all day and get home. I don't think they left here much before probably 5 or 6 o'clock that following evening. They were out over 24 hours. So we've got a good public or streets department, public works department, and so you see them on the street or you see them around, thank them for doing such a great job to keep our community moving in snow and anything else that happens. So the second thing is, it looks like we got this poppy project. I guess the school wants to do this thing here in the spring. They sent us a letter. It says, "Dear Town of Bath Council members, I'm writing to let you know about an upcoming community art project that Warm Springs intermediate students will be working on this spring, and to request permission to display it on the green at Fairfax Street. The project will be funded through a rural youth engagement through public art grant offered by the West Virginia Department of Art, Culture, and History. I'm still awaiting a response, but Tom Rubel said that Morgan County Arts Council could help with funding in case we do not get the grant. So I'm proceeding with my plans. I've attached a copy of the grant for review. In short, students will be learning about how the poppy flowers came to be the symbol of honor and remembrance of fallen soldiers. Each student will create a ceramic poppy bloom the week surrounding Memorial Day, May 27th to June 3rd. We would like to put the poppies on the display on the green at Fairfax due to the Vietnam veterans and World War II memorials. This would invoke poking 390 thin threaded steel holes, the stems of each student's flower into the ground roughly 5 inches. I mentioned the idea to the Foxglove Garden Club and was told that I would need final permission from the town of Bath. Along with teaching our students history and ceramic skills, it will create a beautiful Memorial Day display for our community. Please let me know if we have permission to display the poppies on the Fairfax Green. If so, are there any issues concerning that we need to take into consideration? Maybe there is an area that we need to avoid. I'm looking forward to this project and hope that we will have your support.
I don't think you have anybody that wouldn't support it.
I don't think so, but like I said,
For comment,
Hilarious.
I'd love to coordinate with them so that when we do our flag ceremony on those, that we just keep an alleyway, just like they said,
Right.
they're thinking. So we're not going out there the night before and moving their stuff, that we just keep
Right.
kind of an alleyway so we can go up there and present the wreaths prior to that. So and it'll flow perfectly. I mean, what a great
it's a
opportunity.
great idea. They're just I mean, there are water lines in there, but those little stems are just going to be probably just little metal stems. Shouldn't hurt a thing. They'll go down in the ground, and I don't think they'll have any problem. I don't have a problem with it. How about
The
council?
one thing you need to ensure is that when this is finished, that they get all of those stems
Right,
out
out
of
of there
the
because
ground, mowing,
we're
et cetera.
Yeah,
This started years ago with a thing called Pinwheels for Peace.
yeah,
Same kind of thing. They did it nationwide and internationally, but the cleanup is the thing that you just got to make sure that happens.
right.
Other than that, it's a great thing.
Is there, and Larry, you may know this, is there coordination that we should do or needs to be done with either the Legion or the Vietnam Memorial group about active things for planning for around those memorials?
I reached out last year for Veterans Day when we did the wreath laying ceremony, and what I got was we're not planning anything there. I'm like, okay, so you're good. And they're like, yeah, because they do an event down at the Legion Hall.
There,
VFW didn't have anything going on, so I took that coordination had occurred,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think this
That's
is
the
the
sort of
place.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking.
and this is, I think, the proper timing and forum to do it. That if any other organizations wanted to be part of it, then just like this, then we're coordinating, deconflicting, and we win.
Right. Okay. Now I'll ask for a motion to that effect.
I move that the council support the Poppy project that's been proposed and encourage it going forward with proper coordination with all the interested parties.
Second.
We have a motion, a second on the floor to support the Warm Springs intermediate students in their Poppy program with the Arts Council and their grants, and coordinating with appropriate groups that we need to. And then, of course, I think we add there to make sure at the end that they clean up all the stems and everything out of the ground because of mowing. I didn't mean to add on, I just want to make
No,
sure
we
that
did.
that's in the motion so that they know what the
And just to be specific, that's the Knights of Columbus who lays the wreath. So if you want to coordinate with the Knights of Columbus from St. Vincent de Paul Church.
Okay. All right. Any more discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. We can let them know that they can move farther ahead and to coordinate with the Knights of Columbus with their wreath laying ceremony so that they don't have to pull stuff up out of the ground or anything to go in and do what they need to do. So, okay, let's move on. We have the yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it right now. The Brook Streets project.
Where else to put it?
Yeah, that'll work.
It may become part of a bigger streetscape thing at some point, but at the last meeting, we talked about improving Brook Street and the shape of Brook Street and the need for the state to pay attention to it. And I kind of took this on to move it forward and everything. What I did was I've talked and communicated quite a bit with Randy Watson, who's a project manager and senior partner with Thrasher Engineering, and Daryl Coles. Randy and I asked him for, a preliminary estimate, and from his office in Bridgeport, and looking at Google Maps, he put together something that was in the $250,000 range. Now, this is something that we want to prepare to go to the state DOH with. Might be an uphill slog, but and Randy came last week, and we actually rode the street and like this. I was a little concerned because in his preliminary estimate, he did not mention anything about taking up the concrete. And as we talked, he does have contingency funds in his preliminary estimate, but he says it's really not necessary to take it all up. It's maybe necessary to square some of the worst areas off and re-concrete it and firm it up, but he wants to dig down both sides of the street, about 6 feet, lay foundation, and then pave the street in 7 feet when possible on each side. So we have a preliminary number. I've given that number and that estimate that Randy did to Daryl Coles, and Daryl Coles has moved it into the governor's office for consideration. So we'll see where that goes, but that's.
I'm also going to suggest something. I don't know if a few members of council might be willing here to maybe travel to Charleston to see if we can get a little bit of time with the governor and explain to him why we want this to move forward and needing his help in getting this roadway paved. This is the original 522. It was the old Hancock Road originally before 522 was put in. So there's nothing been done to this road since
Stonewall Jackson.
yeah, when they were firing the cannons from Hancock. No, but since they actually put the sewer, I guess, the water lines in many moons ago. So this needs to be something that I think we need to explain to our governor, Governor Justice, that this should be a priority, being that this is a street, probably one of the worst streets that we have in this community, other than Mercer. And I'd also like to bring up Mercer Street.
The other half is
We
there
did.
as well, correct?
Right.
And we went to Mercer Street also, and he particularly looked at that bad corner
Yep.
with the drainage. And so he's gonna work up numbers for that, but he
Okay.
wanted to see that. He hadn't really seen it, so
Right,
it was
right. So
good
that,
and wet. and
I think
messy, so.
eventually we need to talk, we need to see if we can be able to communicate and talk one-on-one with our governor and get his support in trying to get this done. I mean, they've got money right now that they can use to fix roadways. There's a lot of money flowing out into communities from the state, and I think the time is now. If we're ever going to get it done, it would be right now. So anyway, we're gonna, I would be willing to take a day and go to Charleston if the council thinks that we need to, get a couple of us and go meet with our governor, try to follow this on. Plus some of the other roadways they own in this community, have them step up to the plate and take care of their responsibility. I mean, we've lived with it. We just paved the roadway up here by the, Liberty Street up by the, post office, and all that is half of state roads.
We went ahead and
And
ate
we,
that.
we,
We ate that.
we ate that to repair that roadway because it has been such in dire straits, and we've got people now living up on that section that, can use that roadway now. Whereas before we really didn't have that many, but it was necessary to be done. I think we can relay that to the governor and say, look, we've already stepped up to the plate. We've paved streets, a few streets that you all been responsible for. We've got to take care of making sure that those streets get plowed during the wintertime. We do maintenance on them streets, even that, and just kind of put it out there. I mean, I don't know if council thinks that's a good idea, or if we should just go through our representative, Daryl Coles, and let him see what he can do to get us.
Well, I'm sure he'll see what he can do. Randy Watson has also given this project to Chad Biller, who is with Thrasher Engineering and is one of the people there who finds financing and works with the DOH and works with, the financing of projects.
Right.
So believe me, they'll, and hopefully they will need engineering, and in the state often in these projects now doesn't engineer in-house, they engineer out.
Right.
And so Thrasher is willing to put some legwork in now to see if they can develop something later,
Right. Right.
So,
No, it looks
anyway,
good on
there's
our part
some
because we've taken the
progress.
first step to try and to at least get some preliminary figures on what it would cost, to move forward. So,
$250,000 is a lot of money,
Yep.
but you know what? I didn't think it was enough. When I
well, when you pave 970 some feet of pavement, it costs us
It's-
35,000.
Right.
When we did up on Mercer
This
Street.
is 1,700 feet
Yep.
from beginning to the
So it's-
very end, past Larry's house.
Right, it's a lot of money, So,
Can I ask a question on the topic, please?
Yeah.
And I think you hit it, Mayor, is, the concrete's not terrible, but where they did the cut in for the sewer and the water, now it's the bumpity bump.
right,
Those are the parts that they'll rebuild.
They'll
Right,
rebuild
they'll have to level it out. My question is really for Public Works. Are there any Public Works initiatives that we aren't ready to go for the next 40 years? You know what I mean? So the worst case is we would the state would invest, we repave this thing, and then 2 years from now, we got to cut this through here.
yeah,
and we're
I
back
don't
to-
think we've already replaced all the water lines going up there.
Right.
We did that, what,
In
5, 6, 7?
2009.
Okay, my gosh, it's been
It
that
ate my,
long.
it ate my whole life
Yeah,
that year,
yeah. We replaced the water lines, got all brand new meters, the meters were moved, and stuff like that.
Sewer's
Sewer's
no problem
no
up there.
problem, we're in good shape, we've not had any problems with sewer. So I think everything that way, infrastructure wise, we have in the ground have been replaced. I mean, I'm not saying that sometime along the line, you might not develop a leak somewhere where you're going to have to,
But
you
not
know.
major.
No, and I agree. But I think that's a selling point to say, hey, over the last 15 years, the town has replaced the sewer, the water. Now it's had the effect is we've got a road that's been cut in a whole bunch. Now we're ready to put this nice coat of icing on this cake
Right.
of all the work that the town has done, and we need the state's help. But
Right.
if I was the governor, I'd be kind of like, well, what makes me think we're not going to go tear it up again?
Yeah.
Prevent that or preempt it
Right.
by saying, hey, we're good. This
Right.
is Public Works saying,
Yeah.
all infrastructure development and upgrades are complete. See no reason to have
Right.
to
I
tear it
mean,
up
it's-
again.
No indication.
That's one thing we had planned for when we did the water lines, because we were hoping that we would get the same situation we did on the south side
That's
of
how
Wilk
that got
Street.
done.
Yeah.
You know, we Streetscapes come in and started working doing the sidewalks, and then all of a sudden the governor's office said, okay, we're gonna go ahead and pave it. We didn't even know they were gonna, it was on the list, but they saw that we were upgrading our infrastructure with our sidewalks and our, and
Oh,
everything.
They didn't go ahead and do it. There was begging and.
Well, there
crying.
was some
There was
begging and crying. I'm not
and
saying that there wasn't, but I'm just saying,
I remember that.
we weren't, we thought that we had no snowball's chance and where to get that repaved, and we ended up, right at the end of the project, when we figured it was dead, they came in and said, oh, we're gonna pave it for you. And I'm like, we all like kind of looked at each other sitting here at council thinking, why didn't you tell us this a month and a half, 2 months ago when we were, digging up and doing this, doing that, But they came in and they did that, and I was hoping that that would kind of carry on this way, but it's kind of been just mute. So I think we need to push them and prod them and say, look, we're willing. We've already taken the first step. We've contacted Thrasher to ask him, because he's one of the state contractors, give us a preliminary on how much you think it's going to cost us, and get it in front of the governor so that he can say, okay, guys, Secretary of State here, you need to look at this. This needs to be a priority, and then they can start hopefully engineering and, get what they need to do. And, hopefully we can get an answer on it. So.
That's the question along the lines of paving. Is 522 on the,
It's from what I understand, it's in next year's cycle or this year's cycle coming up sometime this summer. But but I mean, I'm not gonna hold my breath on that until I actually see the machines out there laying pavement. So
When they do that, then they're supposed to join in
right,
Congress.
Congress is supposed to be joined in. So
I'll be
because
waiting.
we did that paving down there on Congress, so and they guaranteed us they would blend that in. So the whole thing was they didn't want to do 522 until we got all of the ADA corners done. Now all the ADA corners are done, so they said that they would pave, and they're going to have to do something because it's terrible up there by the old sheets.
There's a piece of pavement.
Yep.
Back through his window that came up right off the roadway, right
Yep.
down the house.
And it's the thing about it is, I mean, that's another part that we're going to have the state look at up there by the old sheet store. I mean, that was an old brick bridge, wasn't it?
It's still.
Yeah, it's still underneath. There's a brick bridge. It was never designed to have all that traffic going across. And I know what they're going to say. Well, we're building the bypass, blah 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 blah. We'll just pave it over. So, but even if they just put come in and mill it and pave it, it would be so much better. So, like I said, that it's in the plans. I was told for sure it was in the plans, but I don't know when, what date, till they actually show up. I don't know.
I just said everything else looks like it. The
Yep.
streetscapes,
Yep.
all the
So-
ADA corners and everything.
Right. So anyway, okay, then we're moving along on that. So, okay, let's go on down here. Bath Development, their next meeting's tomorrow, 4:30 via Zoom or in person. Parks and Recs.
Yeah,
I got.
okay. Did you get the? All right.
Parks and Recs, I just saw she didn't have anything going on. Yeah, I thought that's what I read the other day. Planning Commission. We've been trying to resurrect our Planning Commission here. We've Mr. Landon here came on board with us. Susan's on there. I'm on there, and we have another fellow that's come forward, David O'Connell. I'm sorry. He lives at 146 Martinsburg Road. He's in town. Said he's been living in Berkeley Springs, town of Bath, for 4 years. Said it's time to step up to the plate and become more involved with the town's planning and activities. He also helps on the
Rails to trails, to depot, everything.
yeah, I was going to say, yeah. The Planning Commission, including Larry here and Susan and myself, would like to move this gentleman forward to place him on the Planning Commission. So I'll entertain a motion if so moved with the council.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on the floor to bring Dave O'Connell into the Planning Commission. Any discussion? Anybody Anybody have any discussion?
He has come to a meeting also. This was a meeting or two ago.
Yeah.
He came.
Yeah, and we actually had another volunteer, but he ended up in the planning commission. So I mean, we are generating community involvement with the committee,
Right.
with the commission. And like I said, even if they don't stick, they're going to serve the community. But Dave, I think he's a great fit with his ties to the other initiatives that are on in the community.
I think so too. So anyway, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Okay, we can let him know he is officially a member of the planning commission. We also need to make sure that we have all of the dates of everybody that has been brought on the planning commission so that we know when their terms come up. I mean, our 2 terms come up during the next election.
It's on the website.
Yeah, so just want to make sure, I want to stay up with that since we're resurrecting this. Also, I would like to discuss, I think I can make most of the meetings on a Thursday, so I'll just have to kind of cut out a few hours still, for at least the next 12
Let
weeks.
us know,
So,
because this has kind of been not real formal.
right,
It's just.
It's a
been-
lot of leveling, what scope and depth,
Yeah.
Right.
what's our roles and responsibilities.
so, like I said, I mean, if we want to, move it or whatever, but like I said, it's just, I'm gonna have to cut out here probably like after 5 to be up there and be prepared for what I gotta be.
If it goes over too much over an hour, you lose me
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's just-
Let's see here, yeah. Yep, absolutely. So anyway, we will go from there. We're done that. So let's move on to streetscapes.
No, let's do rail trail first.
Okay, rail trail, go
Um,
for it.
Every month's meeting is in doubt until it isn't in doubt, so. Basically, I asked Bill Clark and Joel, if they wanted to, but right now it's in HDR's and DOH's hands. I put out a status of the whole thing, I think a week or so ago after we canceled the meeting. I don't know if I sent it to the whole council, but if I didn't. But basically, we're in the process of, remember HDR, they're back in it. They're due to hand over a 30% design package plus permits and things, like now, to DOH. DOH will take that, put it together in a solicitation and solicit for the design build contract. So there's some months there. Then whoever wins that will take the 30% HDR drawings, finish them to construction grade, and presumably the contract for construction is awarded at the same time as the design build. And then maybe later in the summer, you'll see some action at the building for rail trail.
Good.
That's maybe, and I'm once again trying to put together a schedule, but it's from things I grab out of the air and listening to people. Nobody will come up with a schedule. I have yet to ever see DOH provide an actual schedule. I believe they must have them, but I can't prove it.
It's being that
I don't even know if
they
do.
can't stay on one schedule.
I
That's
can't-
the
well,
problem.
That's why they don't have a schedule. So, anyway, we may or may not have another meeting. Moving along to streetscape. Tonight, I would like to request permission, to put out the request for qualifications to actually get an engineering services contract set for the town of Bath, which can and will be used for streetscape design from now on, and can be used for other things. In other words, we built this so it isn't uniquely limited to transportation alternative grants and E-Trend and all that kind of stuff. It's an engineering services contract for the town. It's right in the way the RFQ is structured, it mentions these other things.
You make it broad enough that we don't have to do this with every phase.
Yeah, and it's all gonna be driven by task orders. It's remarkably similar to what we did with the contract for the LRS, for parcel 3, right, you have by task order, and if you've noticed how clever we were that we covered the things that would be under the EPA grant, but we also covered stuff that isn't under the grant, that we're being paid separately for and not using federal money. So we build it the same way. So for example, if something does come about for Wilk Street, at some point, town will have an engineering contract that you can use. We just don't know who's gonna be on the other end of the contract.
Right.
It's competitive, it's going out to a number of people, we want to advertise it here. I think it would be in the investment, mortgage investment bureau in a week or so, to get a price. You get it, and it'll be there, and it'll also go in the Charleston paper. The idea is, I don't know how many we'll get, but I'm thinking we'll get more than one. I suspect Thrasher will bid. Okay.
I
Yeah, I would
suspect they
suspect
normally,
But, because it's competitive, I want to keep you folks out of it. Right now, so your discussion you're having with Thrasher, we don't know much about this. Please.
You never heard a word of this.
Yeah, no, and
Right
it's,
here
you're
on
doing
this
fine,
public
you're
document,
doing
right?
fine. It's, and if we, whoever we get the contract with, might be the one who picks up the final design, you don't know.
Right.
If, is Thrasher trying to work on this, I'm sure they are. I haven't talked to them about this. I don't do things like that.
Right.
We will, the streetscape committee will do the assessment. Tom's part of it, I'm part of it. Rebecca, and I think we've got Diane Peterson also on. We'll do it the same way we've done with the other things. We'll bring back all the scores, you'll see it. And make a decision. The second step, gets involved in pricing, things like that. And the good news on this is we have an actual job waiting to be done, which is to finish the drawings for what was called phase 4B, which is in the Evans, Carter Woods, just before you get to the right? And that will be used to price. DOH enters the fray right at that point because they have to, it's their grant money, so they want to see the pricing. We've had a lot of help from Josh Whitson out of, I think he's programs for the station and District 4, which is where Thrasher happens to be. It's helped us with this, and it's amazing, like this, you guys, town, you do it, and when we get ready to do the pricing, let us know, let us come in on the pricing and we'll have to get that.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's like, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
so Rebecca and I run away with it, and with your permission, we'll open this up to the public by advertising.
Council? I don't have a problem with it, council.
Go for it.
Yep. You have the authority.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
I would call that a common consent.
Yep, common consent.
Yeah,
They're already a part of the, all we have to do is just give our blessing. I don't see a reason to go any further.
yeah.
All right.
I know. There were a lot of
Thank you.
so,
Thank you. All right,
We'll be
Tracy,
back.
you got any wonderful news there?
Well, I do, and I'm holding Safeco, and this is the company we chose to do the hazmat work. I'm holding them now to the date of February the 7th for them to start their work. So expect sometime on that day them to show up. Maybe beforehand, he's having a sandy pot delivered at some point, and so I've told them I'm holding them to that date because it was before Christmas, then
Right.
it was Christmas, then it was New Year's, then it was COVID, then it was this, yeah.
Right.
So, and I'm saying I'm holding you to this date because Mills and I want to, the Mills group, we want to schedule a pre-bid construction meeting for the interior rehab on February the 17th at 10 a.m. Now, and we have to have hazmat work done
Right.
first, so the building can be occupied and people can be in it and see what we're asking them to do. So I'm just rolling ahead with this, you know. and
Well, I
so
mean, Safeco
hopefully
needs to get in
they
there and
need
get it
to-
done because he
to do
told
it.
us it'd only take about a week to get it done.
Just do it,
So, and get it done
and then we
and
can move forward.
right.
So that we're trying to schedule, and Sharon, I imagine you'll get something from Paul McLean that we need to publish, and I let her know today when our paper publishes, so we have to have it in there a certain amount of time, I would imagine.
Yes.
It's gotta be pretty quick.
Friday.
Yes, Friday. So we'll see. I'll ask her again tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
That's
Susan.
what I got there.
Thank you. Landmark Commission, of course, we haven't done anything with that. We'll start, once we get the planning commission up and running, then we'll start working on trying to resurrect our Landmark Commission here. So, like I said, I'm kind of just, we've got to get one thing formed. Once we get that done, then we'll work on the next. Clerk and recorders report. Madam Clerk, do you have anything?
The only thing I have is that the hotel motel fund applications will be going on the website tomorrow. They'll be available here for people to pick up. We're asking this year that they do read the code and they identify which piece of the code they think that their funding should come from.
Okay.
That qualifies.
And they're due by the
They're
28th,
due by the
the end of the
28th.
business day on the 28th.
Yes.
So that'll be 4 weeks, 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. 4 weeks. So, okay. All right, Madam Recorder, you have anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Now let's go on down to finance then, pay some bills.
And before I do it, the new number's got 115223.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I got it. Okay, the town of Bath bills for this period, what you have on your agendas is not the right amounts. $11,052.23. And usually we go ahead and pay those bills on behalf of the town of Bath.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the town bath bills in the amount of $11,052.23.
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Okay. Motion passes.
Okay, and the other we have is Berkeley Springs Waterworks, bills in the amount of $6,089.21. Make a motion to go ahead and pay those on behalf of the water department.
Second.
A motion second on the floor to pay the Berkeley Springs Waterwork bills in the amount of $6,089.21. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion passes.
The finance committee did meet this evening. Aside from, taking care of the bills and like this, I gave them the update I just gave you guys on the Depot project and the Wilk Street reconstruction. We did also talk about the employee compensation at emergency situations, the audit report, which was generally good and totally expected. What we got, which was a fine report in my opinion. I think we weren't there, Sharon, at the time, but we did talk about budget meetings coming up, and that's more towards March, correct? That happened. But anyway, we did meet and talked over financial concerns of the community. The next meeting is February the 14th at 4 p.m. And until further notice, that's what we got.
Okay, all right, thank you all. Tree board, I just heard a report there a little while ago about what the tree board's working on with that grant, so we'll let them go for it. Grant committee, Greg isn't here tonight, but he texted me, said that he didn't have anything in the workings there. I don't know, Elizabeth, do you have anything for grant?
No.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to public safety then.
I don't have anything, Tony.
Okay.
Chief Mike.
Nothing much. We started on this camera process. We got a quote. So I'm gonna start on the grant for it. Hopefully we'll be able to get it. If not, there's other grants I can go after. But roughly the cost for these cameras will be about $20,000.
20?
That's just for the cameras not installing or anything.
Cameras, the jumps that we have to make because they have to be line of sight. The down plan for each jump is like $1,400 for the signals to come back. And we have 4 jumps. We got 4 places for the room. Going to get a good bit. Keeping it mostly on Main Street. I don't want it's going to start talking back streets and stuff unless there's a problem there. It's going to be massive. Let's see if we can get this first grant, then we can expand on that.
You get one in and then.
Yeah, and I don't want people to say, oh, they're going to be watching us for red light. No, I mean, it might come in safe and handy for like accidents with the lights or something. But basically, these cameras are for, safety, watch the businesses, areas like that. It's not going to be for red light violations yet.
All right, thank you, Chief. All right, we'll move on then to the cemetery. Beth?
I discussed several issues with the finance committee today related to the cemetery, but we want to do some, more work before we actually bring issues to the entire council. But I would like, Sharon, to please put on the agenda, make it shine for the next meeting, because the cemetery would like to participate again this year. And so we need that on the agenda, please. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Public Works?
Well, we dodged a bullet last Friday, but Rodney was up bright and early on Saturday, salting everything. Didn't really need to plow. By the time 10 o'clock came through, everything was melted and salted, so they did a good job. And going back to the snowstorm before, where we were not as lucky, Rodney and his crew did over and above what they did. They worked for over 24 hours straight and made sure the whole thing was done the way it needed to be done. So, just wanted, we didn't have the live feed last time, so people need to know. Yep, they did what they needed to do.
Yeah, they work hard out there. People, that's why I said if you see them out there, council members especially, stop them, or if you talk to them, thank them, because they're out here when we're sleeping at night, in the cold, pushing snow and everything else. And I mean, that's a thankless job. I mean, because you're behind a snowplow, it's snowing, you got to be careful because you got cars everywhere. And they have done an amazing job this year, amazing job. So I mean, we had a couple little quirks of snow here and snow there, but you have that. There's nothing you can do. There's only so many places you can push snow. So, and when it starts getting to a point where you have to push in certain places, then we just got to go back. They were, in that 24-hour period, they were actually doing corners, taking the backhoe and taking it down and dropping it like we've done with other big snowstorms. So, and we're still refining it. We got a couple new people on that are there, so they're refining their skills. So
The other piece, though, with this snow and then the ice on top of that, we've had snow on the ground for a month now,
Yeah.
which is very rare for us. So I'm just hoping that this rain doesn't overdo it for us on Friday if it is rain, because then we're going to be looking at the waters rising and cleaning up all the storm drains
Yeah.
again. And we'll cross that bridge when Friday and Saturday get here.
you want to get a hold of Rodney. I don't know if I'll be able to talk to him or just tell him to make sure all the drains, because I do know there's drains down by the post office and stuff that haven't been cleaned out and still got snow. Because we get that rain, we got to make sure those drains are opened up. He knows, but I just want to reemphasize that we need to get them done. Okay, is that all you have, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Ordinance. I didn't have a meeting this evening. I ended up having to clean the furnace late and didn't get here. I'm not going to be working up next meeting for sure. We are going to have the first reading of rescinding the building codes and bringing forward the new form that we'll have to fill out, that they'll come in and fill out, that we will send to the assessor's office. Basically, we will be letting them know that they are to follow the state building codes, which they can go on the website and get the building code if they're redoing a part of a structure, whatever. They can go in and they can bring it right up on the internet. All you gotta do is go to the website. So anyway, Waterworks.
Nothing really new to report there. The only thing to announce is our next meeting will be this coming Monday, the 7th at 4:30.
All right, well, we're at that point in the meeting that I always ask, is there anything else that needs to come before council this evening? If not, I'll take a common consent for adjournment. Common consent?
Yeah, I had one.
So